The hidden truth about Napalm Burst's minor augments will shock you. Now, I've spent hours in the lab testing every minor augment on this ammo mod, and what I discovered changes everything we thought we knew. One augment isn't working at all, another does something completely different than its description claims, and the third has a secret power that makes it the ultimate boss killer in the game. Now, in our last video, we revealed Napalm Burst's shocking 31.8% theoretical DPS increase. But today, we're going deeper, uncovering these hidden mechanics, exposing some developer mistakes, and revealing the most powerful combinations that no other content creator is talking about. And if you stick around until the end, I'll share an accidental discovery that lets you calculate the exact health of any special enemy in the game. It's really honestly a breakthrough method that will completely transform how you approach these special and boss fights forever. So let's dive in and expose the truth about each minor augment. Now, extension has a very simple description: increases burn duration, but after testing all three minor augments, it's clear that extension is the most misunderstood. First, let's just establish what it actually does. So extension doubles the burn damage from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, basically just 100% increase. But here's where it gets interesting. This provides literally zero benefit against normal zombies in the game. Why? Well, because normal zombies already die within the standard 5 ticks at 20% of health per tick, which we learned about in the last video, and even armored zombies still die within those 5 ticks as well. That extra duration is completely wasted. So you might be thinking, well, why waste a slot on this? Well, here's the thing. Extension is exclusively valuable against specials and bosses. And because of that, it absolutely shines. Now, when testing this against Manglers around 11, I was able to confirm that each tick was doing about 187 damage, which calculated it to about 3.5% of the total health. We also know this from our last video. But with extension, that's 10 ticks instead of 5, bringing it to a total of 35% of a Mangler's health from just burn damage alone. Pair this with Thermite, which increases tick damage by 50%, and you're looking at about 5.25% damage per tick for 10 ticks. That's 52.5% of a Mangler's total health burn damage alone. Now, on Liberty Falls, where Manglers and Abominations are obviously weak to fire, this is straight up devastating. And I was initially disappointed by Extension's uselessness against regular zombies, but really after seeing how it performs against bosses, I've completely changed my perspective about this. And if you're running a secondary weapon specifically for boss damage, you need to be using extension. But that's not even the most shocking thing about Napalm Burst. Contact Burn's description reads, initial burn effect deals more damage, but this is completely misleading and doesn't even reflect what the augment actually does. Now, after doing some testing in Shadowville and also the Tomb, and even Citadel de Mort, we were able to finally discover that contact burn doesn't increase damage at all. It increases spread. And without this augment, Napalm Burst can affect a maximum of 3 zombies with that initial burn. But with contact burn, that number doubles to 6 zombies total. Now, this was surprisingly enough, right? But I also noticed something else that Treyarch doesn't tell you. Contact burn changes the fundamental mechanics of how Napalm Burst works. So without contact burn, your bullet damage and that first tick occur simultaneously. We talked about this because that first shot will ultimately take away some of that initial damage. But with contact burn, they're separated. So first your bullet hits, and then a second later, the burn effect triggers. Now, obviously, like I was thinking, well, this is kind of crazy, right? And you might be wondering, well, why does that matter? Well, it matters because it completely changes how you should position yourself when you're using this augment. So the separation allows for more effective crowd control, since that flare up, quote unquote, is significantly larger and more zombies can be caught in it. And what I found really interesting is that this makes contact burn better for dealing with regular zombies and hordes, while extension is just better for specials and bosses. They serve completely different purposes, which wasn't even initially obvious from their descriptions that I thought about. Now, when testing against groups of zombies, it was consistently affecting about 6 zombies, even when they weren't tightly packed. So this suggests that the radius is also quite generous, making it even better for crowd control scenarios. But wait until you see what happens when we combine this with Thermite later. Now, this is where things get frustrating. Incendiary's description sounds amazing. Each damage tick has a chance to spread to a nearby enemy. And in theory, this could create chain reactions of fire spreading throughout entire hordes. And I was especially excited to test this one, expecting it to be potentially the strongest one of the 3. But after testing across these different rounds and different scenarios, I have to confirm that Incendiary is completely broken and actually does not work at all. Now, I tested this by shooting isolated zombies and then bringing it close to other zombies while it was burning them. That didn't work. Despite multiple attempts and different setups, the fire never spread beyond that initial flare up. The only zombies that caught fire were those affected by the initial burn radius, exactly the same as base Napalm Burst without augments. So this isn't really just disappointing. It's literally a waste of an augment slot right now. The fact that it's not working suggests that we were talking about it was likely nerfed whenever the Napalm Burst Season 1 update happened, but it was never properly rebalanced. And now from conversations and talking in Discord and also on stream, it seems to just have been broken back then, and nobody has ever really looked back at it since that patch. Now, if Treyarch fixes this, Incendiary could potentially be the strongest of the minor augments for chain reactions and crowd control, but for now, consider it non-functional and just don't even put it into your slot. Don't even waste it. Also, speaking of things that Treyarch doesn't tell you, you won't believe what I discovered about this special enemy health. So during our Napalm Burst testing, we stumbled onto something I think way bigger than just like MMO mechanics. We accidentally discovered the most accurate way to calculate the exact health of any special in the game. This is a method that only one other content creator has talked about, but passively. So here's how it happened. When testing Napalm Burst ticks against different enemy types, I noticed something fascinating. The percentage-based damage is completely consistent and predictable across different rounds and enemy types. So this gave me a crazy idea. What if we could reverse engineer the exact health numbers by tracking the damage numbers? And it actually works. So here's a breakdown of how I calculated it. So 1, special enemies take a specific percentage of damage per napalm tick, right? As an example, Doppelgas and other specials take exactly 2% of their total health per tick. Manglers, they take exactly 3.5% of their total 8 health per tick, obviously due to being, weak to fire. Now, by recording that numerical damage per tick and doing some basic math, we can calculate the exact health of any special in the game at any round. For example, when testing on a Doppelgas in round 6, each tick did exactly 75 damage. Since we know this equals 2% of their health, the total health, so 75 divided by 0.02 equals 3,750 HP. Total for Doppelgas in round 6. And for Mangler at round 11, each tick did exactly 187 damage. Since we know this equals 3.5% of their health, total health 187 divided by 0.035 equals 5,343 HP. That's probably rounded up somewhere around there. Now, this accidental discovery is literally massive for the theory crafting community because it gives us, for the first time, the ability to be able to precisely calculate in a very easy way how much health each boss has at each round without guesswork or data mining. And it also explains why certain strategies are just more effective at specific rounds, because we can now calculate exactly how many shots it takes to kill a special with any given weapon by knowing their exact health pool. This is awesome. Outside of the armor, because the Napalm Burst does burn through their regular HP, not specifically armor, right? So one limitation that we did discover is that zombies with armor don't take tick damage to their armor from Napalm Burst. The burn effect bypasses armor entirely and deals damage directly to their HP. This means that we can't use this method to calculate armor health values, which is unfortunate because I know a lot of us want to know exactly like the armor HP, but it does make Napalm Burst more effective against armored zombies than it might initially seem, because you don't have to worry about burning through armor. Now, while we're on the topic of special enemy health, I have to give a huge shout out to Donuts, obviously one of my favorite zombies creators. He's done incredible work identifying the health cap of special enemies and has a comprehensive breakdown of weapon DPS, time to kill, shots to kills even, and just a bunch of other data on specials at health cap. And you are wrong about double tapping BO6 Zombies video. Also, in fact, Donuts has discovered several other methods to be able to identify boss health. So when you kill a Mangler with the immune injection, it shows their full health number. If you one-shot Manglers in their cannon with the hand cannon, it also shows their full health number. And then with Death Perception's Death Stare, their full health number will actually display when it insta-kills them. So he's the only other creator who's found reliable ways to be able to identify boss HP, and I highly recommend you guys check out his work if you guys haven't already. I feel like our discoveries actually complement each other perfectly. My percentage-based Napalm Burst method lets you calculate exact health at any round, while his analysis really shows a lot of optimal strategies once they hit health cap. And I'll be compiling all of the damage numbers for each round and posting them in my Zombies info hub, where I share all of my other findings. That way you have a go-to reference for special enemy HP at any round, making it easier for you to be able to just optimize your loadouts and your strategies. I highly encourage you guys go check out Donuts' work. The link is going to be in the description below, as well as my Zombies information hub, and combine it with what we found here to create your own strategies for dealing with specials at various stages of the game. Based on all our testing, here are my recommendations for different scenarios. So for boss and special killing, like specifically on Liberty Falls, your best augment is going to be to use extension. Pair it with Thermite is going to deliver 52.5% of a Mangler's health through burn damage alone, which takes full advantage of Napalm Burst's higher proc rate against specials. Then for crowd control and high rounds, you're definitely going to want to use contact burn. Obviously, it affects up to 6 zombies per proc instead of just 3, which effectively doubles our DPS that we talked about of the 31.8%, bringing that up to over a 63% theoretical DPS. But this is perfect for tightly packed hordes, especially if you shoot and then you just let the burn take them away. It also excels when paired with Firebomb Major Augment as well, because they will ultimately be able to burn even faster. Now, for just balanced all around play, your best bet, most reliable, is just going to be extension. Is more reliable than contact burn, right? Because contact burn, the enemies do need to be close. It adds value to both specials and potentially armored zombies in the later higher rounds, even more so because of the fact that it burns straight through their armor faster than you needing to shoot them. It doesn't require any specific positioning to maximize value. Incendiary would likely win for like chain reaction scenarios if it actually worked, but until Treyarch fixed it, it's not worth the equipment. Now, let's talk about, like testing some of these minor augments. We discovered something interesting about Thermite's major augment, but we will dive deeper into it in our major augment video. But Thermite increases burn effect damage by exactly 50%, which means normal zombies, they 30% damage per tick, so that's up from 20%. Special enemies get 3% damage per tick, up from 2%. And then also Manglers get 5.25% damage per tick, up from 3.5%. This just makes the Thermite and extension the literal ultimate boss killing combination, giving 52.5. That's over half of Mangler's total health of just burn damage alone. That's insane. And then you also pair it with the fact that each bullet is also doing additional damage as well. This combination is just obviously just very essential for Liberty Falls, but it's also just really good ultimately for any special. So after all of these testing and after all of this data and all these numbers, the minor augment tier list for Napalm Burst is 1, extension. It's the best overall value. It excels at specials and bosses. 2 would be contact burn, right? It's excellent for crowd control, but then also obviously 3 and really just kind of trash at this point. Incendiary, currently broken, no value, none of that kind of stuff for you. But the biggest surprise from our testing is just how well designed Napalm Burst is for special enemies. That 50% proc rate ratio versus the standard 33% for other ammo mods makes it uniquely positioned as a great special killer, right? Like especially on Liberty Falls where Manglers are always there and just vulnerable to fire. In many ways, I think Treyarch has been subtle but deliberate in designing Napalm Burst. You guys let me know, like, because I feel like it excels in specific situations rather than like a general purpose ammo mod, right? Like while Cryo Freeze might be more versatile, especially with liquid nitrogen on, Napalm Burst just kind of has a clear niche in which I feel like it dominates, you know? And if you want to see how these minor augments compare to the base stats, check out my first Napalm Burst video where I break down exactly how Napalm Burst can literally boost your DPS by over that 30%. Also, stay tuned for our next video where I'll be breaking down all 3 minor or major augments for Napalm Burst, Firebomb, Thermite, and Big Game. We'll be diving deep just the same way as today into their hidden mechanics, optimal setups, and discovering which one truly reigns supreme for different playstyles and maps. And also don't miss our upcoming live stream where we'll be putting these augments to the test in real time, pushing them, you know, to figure out exactly what's the best against bosses, hordes, all this stuff. And after that, we'll be launching our comprehensive theory crafting video that combines everything we learned to create the ultimate Napalm Burst builds for every situation, for every combo. But you cannot do that if you are not subscribed. You won't see anything if you're not subscribed. Now, if you do want to join our theory crafting community where we discovered everything, check out our Discord link in the description below. If you haven't checked out that initial Napalm Burst video deep dive just yet, you're missing out. With that, guys, have a beautiful goddamn day, and I will see you guys in the next deep dive. Bye, guys.